we're going to make an abstract word design. What I need you to think about is a 3-word phrase that you might want to use in your artwork. When we abstract a design, what we're doing is we're making it less literal. We're going to make our message that we choose a little more hidden, and the design will be more about composition and line and color than the actual words that are in our artwork. So think about that 3-word phrase that you want to use, and then I'll show you how to get started. You just need white piece of paper, that regular size, like from the printer, or 9 by 12, and a pencil to start. And then you'll have choices of how to render the full color. So let's go.
Remember that you had to choose a 3-word phrase. To begin the design, we're going to draw 2 lines across our paper, long wavy lines, splitting the paper in 3 equal sections. And then we're going to do our lettering from the center out. Count the number of letters. Health has an even number of letters, so I'm taking the 2 center letters, which are A and L, and I am drawing them on either side of where the center of the paper is. For the word and, it's 3 letters, and N is right in the center. And for happiness, it's an odd number of letters, so the I is right in the center. Make sure all the letters touch the top and the bottom of their section. You can also make them change shape a little bit with the wavy lines that they're lining up with. You can change where the crossbars of certain letters are, make them higher or lower to make things a little more abstract. And then just continue till all your words are filled in on the paper. We're starting from the center because sometimes if you just write from left to right, it's harder to judge and sometimes you run out of room. So this will help you make a nice even spacing for all your letters across the paper.
Laid out everything in pencil and started to trace things in Sharpie as one choice for rendering your artwork. Think about some ways that you can abstract the words so it looks more like a good composition, a cool design, a good piece of artwork. You're going to use color to abstract those letter forms too. Like if you did the letter A, the inside of the A might be red, underneath it might be blue, on one side might be yellow. And when you have those different color fields in and around the letters, that will abstract them. Some other things I thought of when I was doing the health and happiness one was I made the thicknesses of the lines for either those dividing lines that we drew or for the letter forms, different thicknesses. So for this N in the center, the first stroke is just a single line with my marker, but the other 2 I thickened. So having those lines kind of thicker and thinner makes a more interesting composition, and you lose the letter forms a little bit. I also had just the word and for my middle word, and there was a lot of space left. So on the sides, I made some vertical lines, not completely straight and vertical, but kind of going along the lines of those dividing lines. So on a little bit of a curve on either side. And then I alternated the thicknesses of those 2. And then I just repeated it a little bit on the top line there between the A and the L, and on the bottom line in one of the sections of the letter N. So for me, I'm feeling like this design traced in Sharpie with a couple of little extra lines and thinner and thicker lines is ready for color. You can remember, you can use anything that you want for color, anything that you have in the house. For this one, I will probably use maybe Sharpies, but you could use Crayola markers, colored pencils, crayons, anything like that. For my other message, I did Welcome Spring Flowers, and I decided for that one that I would do a little bit of a floral motif inside some of the letters. So if you look here inside the, let's see, the inside one section of the W, I have a little tulip growing out of it. On this letter O, I made some small flower petals around the outside to look more like a sunflower. I have a couple of places where I just kind of have a little stem with some leaves, the beginnings of flowers growing in spring. And you can't see yet, but for this project, I decided to trace over all of my lines with white crayon. So for this piece, I'm going to do a crayon watercolor resist. So instead of having all of these letter forms and lines black, they'll all wind up being white. And so this will be painted, this will be colored, and let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at my completed abstract word designs. Here's the first one that I did, Health and Happiness, the one that I did with black Sharpie lines, making some of the lines thicker and thinner, adding a few extra areas to make a better composition. I stuck with 5 colors. It's nice to have a limited palette because then your design is unified, right? We talk sometimes about unity, having things all look unified, and variety. So there's a variety of colors, enough to have different colors in the piece, but it also unifies the piece because it's not as chaotic. The more colors you put in, it's hard to kind of make sense of the design. And then here's the other one that I did by taking a white crayon, tracing over all my pencil lines in white crayon, and then doing a resist painting. So it's basically the same process. I picked a certain palette of colors. Other things that I thought about was making sure that I had each of the colors represented equally, that they weren't touching. Your palette might be, maybe your favorite color is blue and you have colored pencils in all kinds of light and dark blues, and that's fine. Maybe you leave some areas white. Maybe you want to add black into some of the sections of your design. Those choices are up to you, but it should be your best work. It should be complete, and I would love to see it. Make sure you upload it so I can see it when you're finished. See you soon.